I think one of the big reasons that things got so bad in the evangelical church is that we listened to the wrong people and we elevated the wrong voices. Um, when you look at who wrote our best-selling sex and marriage books, virtually nobody is qualified. You don't see people who are counselors. You don't see people who are psychologists. I looked at 13. We analyzed 13 of the best-selling sex and marriage books. Of those 13 books, there were only 11 peer-reviewed citations, like citations to actual peer-reviewed journals. I don't mean 11 per book. I mean 11 across all 13 books. And the majority of them were to theology journals. So people are saying things with no backing at all. They're making claims with no backing at all. And we let pastors write a lot of our books. Pastors are not trained in healthy marriage dynamics. Pastors aren't trained in trauma.
Hmm.
And my prayer going forward is that we stop listening to people who aren't qualified and who don't sound like Jesus, and we start really looking at the data and we look at things through a Jesus lens. Because it's okay to throw out all those old books.
Yeah.
You can throw out Power of a Praying Wife. You can throw out Love and Respect. Please don't
Yeah.
recycle. Please do not donate them, because then someone else is going to get a hold of it. Like, rip off the cover, recycle it, burn it. I don't care. But, we can get rid of these older books that haven't helped us. And we can say we need something new. We need something different. We need healthy, because we haven't had that. And when pastors are just preaching the same old messages, then it's okay to stand up and say, no, you don't get to do that anymore, because we're not gonna stand for it. And we do have the power. That's the thing. We're the ones who buy the books. We women, we're the ones who bring people to church. If we start speaking up and we say, no, we're not gonna stand for this anymore, then I think we can really make a lot of change. And I hope that we see that start to happen.
What would be some like moving forward steps for someone who's kind of, they've internalized these messages, they're seeing what's going on, it's not good. How, like, moving forward for them, like ways to set a boundary or ways to support them in their, what I'm trying to, like, moving forward, practical steps.
Well, first of all, read Great Sex Rescue, like, if you haven't yet. She Deserves Better looks at the messages we got as teens. The Marriage You Want looks at the messages that we've had about marriage. Read some books that show you what healthy looks like. And then one of the really, really, really pieces of good news that we have from all of our research, and I think this is good news, is that you don't always have to make huge changes to see results. Like, sometimes if you just change going a little bit more in a certain direction, you're going to see that things will start to snowball. Because sometimes I think we feel like we have to change absolutely everything in our lives. But no, you can say, you know what, this is an area I'm going to address. I'm going to start speaking up. I'm not going to do all the housework anymore. I'm going to make my kids do more. I'm going to say no to my husband. I'm going to stop doing everyone's laundry, whatever it might be. Or maybe it's sex and you're like, I'm not going to initiate when I don't want to. And I'm going to take some of that back, or whatever it is. But remember that as you do little things, other things also tend to improve. And so we can get overwhelmed with how everything is bad and we've done everything wrong. But, like, choose the thing that you think most matters to you, where you can see a clear boundary that you can set, where you have some support, and walk forward in that. And then you'll find that often the other things tend to also get better and you have more strength in other areas too.